Guys, it's the kid, it's me, the kid, it's your boy. We're coming in here for another lovely football dugout. The biggest game in 30 years happens on Wednesday. That, of course, is Chelsea against Ajax, which I like. Before I was rudely interrupted, one of the biggest games in the last 30 years happens on Wednesday. We're hearing 8 trillion people are going to be viewing that game. It's going to break Guinness Book of World Records. It's the biggest. It's a game that defines an era. It's an era to define any kind of game. So trust me, Ajax, bro, we're coming for that ass. But I'm not alone in this. I am joined here by my faithful peeps, man. What up, guys? How you doing, man?
Good.
I'm alright. The weather's getting a bit on top of me, innit? But
so how have you been? How have you been? Because we don't really learn more about how the other guys are doing. How have you been? How is life, philosophies, view things? Have you done anything illegal? Anything you want the police to know about? Be open.
Whoa! What kind of show is this?
It's called Snitches. It's called Football Dugout #Snitches.
You guys just done anything illegal? Like we're like, yeah, but you know what? This one, nah.
I'm alright, man. I'm alright. Obviously, watching the cricket draft draw yesterday, which of course we're going to talk about today,
Yeah,
right?
we're not going to talk about no cricket. It's called the football dugout for a reason. That's what we talk about.
Okay.
So I'm wearing the wrong top.
You are wearing the wrong top, but that's cool. We'll allow you. You're sick.
Okay,
confused.
So basically, let's just list the different things that will be happening on this dear lovely show, man. We're going to be talking about so the Twitter poll is out. So if you go to my Twitter page, you will see the poll that is out there. The poll is pretty much, if these guys are missing, how much does this affect Liverpool? Firmino, Mane, or your boy Salah? Which player does Liverpool miss the most when they're not playing? So, guys, look, this is not an Arsenal show. I don't care about clipping Ozil, traveling, or flipping tennis. So, guys, just pretty chill.
Listen, the biggest game in 30 years is about to kick off.
So basically,
Apparently there's an echo.
I've got to do it. So, on the show, we're going to talk about City closing the gap, Barcelona going top of the table, top of La Liga, and also going to talk about racism again. And racism has reared its ugly head with Haringey obviously having to pretty much basically we'll get into that in detail because it's crazy how many times we have to talk about this whole racism stuff. Main discussion, of course, we're going to talk about VAR. We'll also have to talk about Liverpool and United as well, reflecting the game, and also because I'm confused about this whole VAR thing, but we'll see where these guys stand, and then of course we'll talk about the Champions League preview and take your questions. So let's just get straight down to it right now, man. Man City closing the gap, getting that win. In your guys' view, would you say the old City are back in the way that they executed them?
No.
It's a tough one because Palace has always been a tough place to go for City, and for most of the big sides, always a tough place. So they got the win, and it was two moments in quick succession that secured the victory. One for me was a bit of a lapse in defending from Palace that allowed Jesus with the freedom of Selhurst Park. Good header. But the second one, a piece of genius from Raheem Sterling, dinged the ball over to David Silva. But we saw the lineup that City had, and they had Fernandinho and Rodri.
I was confused.
I didn't know what formation they started with. I didn't know if they were going.
Yeah, I thought the Sky Sports app was broken. I was like, this don't make no sense.
It was mad. It shows that. Well, I think Stones was on the bench. I can't remember, I'm not sure if he was on the bench, but I know he's just coming back from injury. I think he might have been on the bench. But Otamendi, there's a lack of trust for me for the defenders that they do have. Pep doesn't believe that they can really cope without Laporte. And rightly so, because Otamendi is error-strewn and Stones ain't much better.
Yeah.
So I think...
So basically you're saying Otamendi is trash?
He is.
He's not trash. No. He just needs a leader next to him, someone to keep him on a leash.
But he's got a mistake in him, even with someone next to him.
But if that someone's there, they can sweep up for him. I think Otamendi is one of them players where you have to have someone next to him just kind of holding the back, like, don't go for that. You don't have to go for that. You don't have to go for everything. Just chill. It's like, okay. When he doesn't have that person next to him, he wants to win everything, high up the pitch, wide. And, there's a lot of defenders Lovren's kind of has that in him. Mustafi has it in him. And if you have a defender next to them who's a calming influence, they might eradicate one or two of those mistakes. But if they're left to their own devices, then it's dog chasing a car. It's basically what it is. They're going to go for everything.
Okay, so in your view then, would you say that this is perhaps pivotal in the title race with regards to City being impressive and them pretty much getting back? So do you think that this, obviously we'll sort of, I don't really want to get into Liverpool United first, but do you think that City have not sort of like put away the demons of the Norwich loss and the Wolves loss, or
nah,
or I think there's another L to be taken?
Nah,
City before they face Liverpool in their game.
Yeah, I don't think that performance against Crystal Palace tells us that Man City are back and ready to go on a run. I think there's a lot of little nuances of what's going on at Man City. The defensively, obviously, they need to get that. They need to get that right. Going forward, they're fine. I think he needs to find the balance between Gabriel Jesus, giving him the correct minutes. Making sure Aguero is always up for it and on fire. Mahrez, he pulled him out, but Mahrez was on form. Bringing him back in when it's time. So he's got a lot of things to kind of juggle. If he could do that correctly, which we've seen in the past that he can do, then I think Man City could start to apply some pressure. But I think they've left themselves a little bit too much of a gap. There's a big game coming up next weekend with Liverpool. They're playing Tottenham. Yeah. I know Tottenham are trash at the moment, but as we saw against Man United, big games, sometimes the occasion takes over. So if they drop points there and Man City could pick up a win, then they're really going to start turning the screw.
I think it was important for Man City that they played before Liverpool. Yeah. In the previous weeks, they've always played after. And Liverpool kept extending that gap and putting the pressure. And that pressure can't be discounted. Like, you might think, well, it doesn't matter whether you play first or you play second. It's the same team you're playing. But it's a different mentality. Also, it could be a different mentality for the team you're facing. Because, for example, say they're in a relegation battle or they're watching other results. The results of those teams will impact what their mentality is going to that game. Is it a case of, all right, we need to win to keep up with our rival, or we can extend our gap or close the gap, whatever it is. And I think it was important that they played before Liverpool. And that may have psychologically affected Liverpool. You don't know, innit? Yeah. To close the gap. But what I would say, 6 points. So technically it's in Man City's hands. It's also in Liverpool's hands because obviously they have to play each other twice. But if Man City were theoretically to win those 2 games, then it comes down to goal difference. But I just feel Man City have more drop points in them. So even if they were to match Liverpool for the rest of the season, it's not going to be enough. As you said, they may have left themselves a bit too much to do.
All right, so let's now turn our sails over to España. Real Madrid or Real Madrid or fake crap red or whatever you want to call themselves decided to lose to Real Madrid, who have not been relevant since Edso used to play for them. Barcelona, they won back top of La Liga. So 2 questions for you guys right now. Do Barcelona now remain top of La Liga? And also, what do you make of MSG? Messi, Suarez, and Griezmann. Do you think they can compete with MSN? And how effective do you think that can be? Hey, easy.
Bootleg MSN.
B-Tech.
Bootleg MSN. That's, the vision, the quality's all grainy. You could just about make up who's on the screen. You're like, well, what am I watching? Where did I buy this from? £2 from the market stall. No way is it anywhere near MSN. Because
not only is Griezmann not in Neymar's level, Suarez ain't as good as that Suarez, and Messi. Oh, he's as good as that Messi, but he's not. Yeah, maybe he's not as good as that Messi either. So, you're not.
Nah. But I think they will be effective.
What kind of question was that? That was a curveball, man. I wasn't expecting such.
I think they will be effective enough in this day and age in this league. Yeah. I think there's a lot of more twists and turns to go. And I'm a stubborn man. I'm still gonna stick with my Atletico Madrid. They let me down terribly. They let me down terribly. But I gotta stick with them. You know what I mean? I'm a stubborn man. I'm not. No. I said something.
That was a pipe dream. We sold a pipe
I don't.
those guys are not.
I'm not a flip flop. I'm not a flip flop. I'm not like you where I say
Phoenix
one
the
thing
cat-
one week
which-
and then the next thing the next.
Phoenix, the cat's supposed to be like the next big thing. How do they
Listen,
have the
I
back on that?
stand by my word.
What's his name? Diego Costa, the guy that looks like 45. He's pretty much like he still calls. Apparently, he calls Trippier Rooney 10 times a day or something. Obviously, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening. So we're still sticking with that.
Yeah, listen, I stand by my word. I said it with my chest. I still say it with my chest. If I'm proven wrong, then I'm proven wrong. So I'm still gonna say it. You know what I mean? But
Proven wrong, bro.
it's early. But they're on the ropes. They're on the ropes.
They are.
You know, but I'm not gonna throw in the white towel just yet. Let them play.
I think-
but it's tight. It's tight. It's
Well,
still-
I think for me,
Yeah.
it comes down. To Messi. If Messi is fit, I think I said on the previous one, Messi is fit for like 30 games in the season, Barca will win it. If it gets any less than that, you're thinking like it comes down to a game here, a game there, because Barca without Messi are just a normal team.
Yeah.
With Messi, I mean, they've got Messi in it.
yeah, but what's the points at the moment? Isn't it?
I think it's 1 point difference.
There's like 2 points separating the top 6 or something like
Is
that.
it that?
It's
Oh,
like
it's
three,
top 6.
2 or 3 points separating the top 6. I think it's really tight. So I think it might
Not as
be
tight as Bundesliga.
not as tight as
That's-
Bundesliga. I think that's 3 points separating the top 9. No, 2 points separating the top 9 in Bundesliga. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I think there's a lot of twists and turns. But as you said, Messi is the X factor. You know, there's no one else in that league who can do what Messi does.
As much as
No one else who can keep up with Barcelona once Messi's on form. So if they could keep Messi fit, it's looking like
there's 3 points separating
3
top
points,
6.
Okay, so
I think Sevilla is 6th, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's hit now to something that always keeps on rearing its ugly head. So there was some racism happening in the FA Cup. I believe this was is it Yeovil against Haringey?
Yeovil
Yes,
versus
yeah.
Haringey Borough, yeah.
So apparently there was some racial insults heard from the crowd that was in there. The manager now came and he actually pretty much pulled his players off.
Yeah.
And then the referee then went to the manager and said, "Wait, are you saying that your players are not going to come?" And he said, "Well, if you can you guarantee me the protection of my players?" Referee said, "Sorry, I can't guarantee you that." Then the manager says, "No, I'm not taking my players off." And he gave an interview saying that he had it. The referee said he didn't hear it say he had it, and he saw the look on his players' faces, and he said, "You know what? I could see they were affected by this, so I made that decision to take my players off." So for me, my thing is this is done. Because it reminds me about the whole England game. Some people will say, well, less is at stake because smaller clubs are and everything. But I just think that, what that manager was able to do, I think is what I want guys to do. It's like, if you really care about this stuff, man, bring the game into disrepute. Completely bring the game, disrupt everything. Because what people want is like, you keep playing, rise above it. Like, I also got John Barnes back healing the banana skin. No, just rise above it. No, scoring a goal is how you really get back at it. No, if you really care about this stuff, it's just about kicking the ball inside a flipping fishnet. There are things that matter more than putting a ball inside a fishnet. So your reactions on what he did and how you think it may or may not affect these kinds of issues going forward.
For me, it's funny because last time we were on the dugout, we actually got the breaking news that was happening in Bulgaria, and it's something that is quite ironic. But I would say I can't remember the guy's name now. I want to say Greg Clark, but that could be the previous one. But the current FA chairman did say it, even though I had some issues with his interview after the Bulgaria-England game. There's one thing he said is that we mustn't use this to kind of basically cover what's happening in England. There's issues of racism within our own game. Yeah. So we can look at Bulgaria all we want. We can look at Serbia. We can look at all the Eastern European. We can look at Italy, Spain, Portugal, wherever you want to. But let's say if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. I ain't saying don't speak about it. But if you ain't getting your own house in order, then your word carries little weight. And England have to get their house in order if I can take their pronouncement seriously when it affects their players. Now, what I saw, or what I read about, should I say, on Saturday, it was Saturday, FA Cup game, and I know someone who's actually, my friend, partner, actually plays for Haringey, and so she was in the ground when it happened, and she said it's just so upsetting that someone that, especially someone that that she knows who plays for the team, come over here just trying to make a living, basically doing something that he enjoys, that he gets subjected to this abuse. Man's just in goal doing his job. and there's not even the excuse that some of them like to use. Oh, it's a way of putting someone off. We overall winning at the time.
Yeah.
So what's their excuse this time? What's their reason for their racist abuse this time? If there can even be such an excuse or a reason. But the action that Haringey took is what I want to see. And we've seen it in parts from an individual player here and there.
That's the point
I think the first time I actually remember seeing this was actually Eto in La Liga, where he tried to walk off the pitch. And they stopped him. People like Ronaldinho.
Actually, can I just put it guys, because I actually wanted just to react to the stuff that's happening. So there's a guy in the live chat called AEW Awesome. He's now come out and said he's black.
Yeah.
And he says, play on. Man up. Play on.
We've been playing on a manning up for how many years? 30, 40,
yeah,
50
but
years.
this derives from the narrative that we were told. We were told we should play on. We were told, rise above it. But we were told these things. Has that worked?
Nope.
We've been doing that for a long time. That's not worked.
In the 80s.
But what I liked about the Haringey thing is that the whole team, it weren't just the black players that wanted to walk off. It's the whole team, because it's very important that when these things happens, the white players have the same agenda. They also think this is wrong. I'm walking off. I'm showing solidarity with. Do you know what I mean?
Was that the same thing that happened in AC Milan? Everyone walked off with Kevin Prince Boateng. I believe, everyone actually followed him, which is key. Everyone has to walk at the same time.
But if that happens again and again and again, then the governing bodies are forced to make sure something happens in regards to racist abuse. Because if the whole team walks off and you ain't got no games going on, you see how quickly they look at racism.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because even look at, you got the rule now where you can't lift your top up because you might have a message. I remember Nicholas Bentner was fined a few $100,000 for
some
sponsor. It was underwear,
on his underwear.
Some sponsor that wasn't according to what UEFA or FIFA at the time had. But because their money was getting affected, because if you're conflicting with your sponsors, they came down hard on it. When matches are abandoned, they're gonna feel it in the pocket.
Yeah.
And if that's what it takes, if it takes a season of truncated games non-stop, then so be it. Because if you don't walk off, if you don't take such drastic action, what you're saying, and what this guy says, just play on, man up. What you're saying is that the football is more important than the social aspect. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, imagine all these live televised games and teams just walk off.
Yeah.
How many televised games do you reckon it'll take for them to realise that they need to do something?
Yeah, Sky will be on
two games. If you had 2 games abandoned because the team walk off, they'll be down on a ton of bricks.
But also, and that's the key thing, is if you keep, that's why I say bringing the game into disputes. If that keeps happening, and now the governing body now sort of penalises the team that walks off, it's going to go to CNN. It's going to go to.
They can't.
So basically,
they can't penalise.
Oh my gosh, wait a minute. So you're being penalised because you're standing up for racism, and the governing body are penalising you. So this thing, your hand is now forced to now do something.
Yeah.
If you don't play on, keep scoring, because they'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, it has been happening for decades, and it's play on. So and it has been happening. So even if you score and you score 5-6 goals, they'll keep on doing it. So isn't the whole point that you're trying to not make this happen?
Yeah.
and if I'm honest, as I said, we mentioned it when it happened live, the Bulgaria-England, and I was actually disappointed that England didn't walk off and the game wasn't. I'm talking about properly walk off, because a few people, ex-players, they kind of, that was a kick in the face to racism today. It was it.
No.
What? No, for me it was. You made a statement, but it wasn't kicked in his face. Yes, we know that some people were ejected, but the racist abuse carried on after that. Before the game started, a few of the England players, Tammy Abraham comes to mind. They basically said that we've decided as a team that if we had this racist abuse, we're walking off the pitch. But they basically gave him 2 or 3 chances, and they didn't walk off the pitch. And even the fact that the UEFA protocol is 2 or 3 chances, what you're saying is that it's not that important.
That in itself
you
is
give
ridiculous.
you have to give it a chance. All right, so no, you can't do that. Oh no, you really can't.
It's like
do
the
that.
first.
All right, now we're
like
walking
the
off.
first time might have been a mistake.
Yeah.
The first time I was like, no, he didn't actually mean to make those noises. It was a mistake. Oh no! I think what it was is that it was an echo in the stadium. Let's just wait and see if the third time. Oh no, they've actually done it 3 times. Let's do so. What kind of stupidness is that?
But I think it would take a big country or in a big tournament, club, whatever it is, to make that stand, and then not that saying people aren't aware or enough, but for it to go into another level in terms of what actions can be taken, it's going to take a big club or nation. I think for me, England missed a trick, especially with the pronouncement. If they didn't say they were going to walk off before, then it would have been as business as usual because they never have walked off. But when you say that you're going to do it and then you don't, you have to question, all right, so what changed between the press conference and the 90 minutes? What changed in between there for someone to say, oh, no, guys, no, don't walk off actually. We'll just come down and make it, stand on the sideline and show that we don't like it, but we'll go out and play again. Yeah.
Oh, well, we await and we see what the fall is going to be. So let's get into our main discussion of the day, which of course is the Liverpool United game, where pretty much two main talking points to pretty much address here. First off is the results. What the results means, the performance of both teams. And also it's the whole VAR thing, because I need you guys to help me out here. I need you guys to tell me why Premier League referees can't look at the monitor, but La Liga, Liga 1, Bundesliga, every other league I watch it in, they always look at the monitor and look at the screen and give the decision. But Premier League, just the way they're interpreting the use of the VAR and how referees the VAR is completely different from how every other league does, which it doesn't really make sense. So before we really get to the whole VAR discussion, let's look at the football. I was impressed with what United did. Because I was looking at my Twitter page, I said 1-1. Because I just felt that the whole narrative of like, they'll be destroying us, like, it just normally doesn't really happen that way. When people will assume this team will get beaten, once the occasion happens, it just doesn't happen that way. So for me, do you feel that United let that one get away based on how much they controlled the game? Or do you feel that for Liverpool, they could have done better? Or is it a case of Liverpool should have done better, or we should be giving more credit with how Solskjaer was able to set up, despite Liverpool missing Salah in the team?
Firstly, I just said, you said 1-1 last week as well, didn't you? I think you said 1-1. I think I said Liverpool going to win. But I believe you said...
Did I say...
I think you said it was going to be 1-1. But firstly,
I
just want to say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got his tactics spot on in the first half especially. I think what he did in finding the space behind Robertson and Trent and kind of nullifying Robertson and Trent as they was going forward with the wing-backs, I think you have to applaud him for that. I don't think Liverpool turned out. I think they played the occasion more so than the team again. But I do think I can't remember Alisson having any saves to make though. And as much as Man United looked decent, they weren't really a threat apart from the goal.
Yeah, I think there was one. We had 2 shots on target.
I think was there someone? Pereira had a couple of chances, and Pereira's a funny one for me because at the beginning of the game I was like, this guy is trash. But then, as the game kind of grew on, he got better and better. But at the beginning, he was ruining every move Man United had. They had some good opportunities to play the ball through, and he was picking the wrong option and whatnot. But I think you have to give Solskjaer props for that. I think in the second half he could have been a little braver. For me, I would have brought on Martial for Pereira when it was 1-0 and given Liverpool really something to think about because Liverpool were coming on. I'd have brought on Martial, said, right, you come at us, we're going to attack those spaces with James, Rashford, Martial, all pacey players. You come at us, if we break, you're in trouble. But they sat back, and it was inevitable that Liverpool were going to score. I think he missed the trick there. By being a little bit braver, he could have got a good result. It is a good result on paper. But he could have got a really good result, which really could have changed Man United's season. Imagine you beat Liverpool at Old Trafford. Now all of a sudden you're on cloud 9. Next game you can't wait to start. I think he missed the trick there.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Devo said. I think, listen, I'm going to tell like it is. First half, he out-thought Klopp. He tactically outclassed him. Klopp didn't know where to go. Klopp, in the end, he probably changed the formation 3 or 4 times before they got the equaliser. That was really an error defensively on our part. As much as Alisson didn't have anything to saves to make, De Gea didn't have anything to do other than the one Firmino dribble shot. That kind of like we nullified Liverpool. And people say, yeah, but you're at home. The majority of people go into the game thought Liverpool were going to win and comfortably. Like, they were talking 3s and 4s and 5s. So, the fact that De Gea... Actually, in the last podcast, we spoke about whether De Gea's going to have to make 15 saves. I remember someone saying 12 saves. that just wasn't the case.
No, I think literally 2 saves.
It was comfortable.
Yeah.
So in that first half, Klopp didn't know what to do. I think when we saw the lineup, it was like, or the formation was like, whoa.
Already on the left.
No, I'm talking about Man United. Sorry, we're like different. It was 3, or was it the 5? But I was so happy that he had the fullback, the wing backs pushed up, so it was more a 3-4-3 or 3-4-1-2 rather than a 5-3-2. And that, I think the average positions of Trent and Robertson were like 20 meters deeper than their average normal positions. And we know that's what Liverpool like. So let them have it in the midfield. We know that their midfield, Henderson
was terrible.
Can't do nothing. Listen, sorry, Deborah.
He was terrible.
We were on the football terrace, the FT show, doing the combined 11, and man had the audacity to say that Henderson over Pogba. Oh, come on! Henderson was awful. Yeah. He was awful, and he's not a good player. Generally, he's decent at best.
Even that didn't make sense when he brought on Ox and he pushed Henderson to the right and had Ox in the middle. I was like, what?
The man had to change the formation time again. But I said, to answer your question, was it an opportunity miss? Yes, because we were the best side in the first half, easily. We didn't create a bag of chances, but we were the best side. Easily.
Guys, there are 5 minutes left for the poll. It is very, very tight.
Yeah.
There's usually like 1 or 2% between certain players. So if you haven't voted yet, go to my Twitter page or Devil's Twitter page and vote now, because there's actually 1% between 2 players. So try and put that in the board. Sorry.
But I think, as you said, that second half we let it go because for me we started the second half, and it was like, I think we kind of went to a 5 at the back.
Yeah, it was too negative.
And said, let Liverpool have the ball and we'll try to hit them a counter. And I think we had one opportunity on the counter where Rashford and James broke. And James went across to the left. Rashford came inside and had the shot. But other than that, we didn't really threaten in the second half. And whilst Liverpool weren't, banging on the door, you just felt that there's time and when...
You gave them a way back
in. We did.
You invited them on you a bit too much.
And I think that's where Solskjaer has fallen down in terms of his in-game management.
Substitutions are poor.
Well, for me, it's a tough one because if you look at our squad, that's the thing. Yeah. Look at our squad as a whole, first and foremost.
Martial was on the bench.
Pogba was out. Martial, I think he trained maybe 1 or 2 days in a week. The question is, how much can he give? What can he give? Can he give the running that a tired James and Rashford can give? I don't know. To be fair, Martial did come on before the goal, but it was only like a few minutes before the goal. And other than that, who you really got to bring on? We already had to make the injury when Axel pulled up in the warm-up. All we had was Brandon Williams, who came on.
Was Greenwood on the bench?
He's
not fit either, is he? Greenwood. Hasn't he just come back from a knock as well?
He may well have. I'm not sure. But it's like, look at the options they didn't. Whereas Liverpool, their bench, even though their squad, if you compare to Man City, ain't great, but they've got Oxlade, they've got Navigator, they've got Lallana, Shaqiri. I don't know, was Shaqiri on the bench? I'm not sure. But they've got options that can change the game. Yeah. We were struggling. He could have made a substitution earlier, but I think the tactics itself left ourselves open.
Mentioning Pogba. So let's say Pogba played in the game. Would we now that sort of like change things, help United, harm United?
I do think it would have, and the reason why is because
would have what?
I think it would have helped United, and the reason why, there was a few times where there was runs made by Rashford or James and Pereira. A couple of times he found them, but I know Pogba would have found them in the right way. He might not have helped doing as much as what Pereira did in the legwork and everything like that. But I think McTominay and Fred had really good games in the base of that midfield. I think if Pogba would have played on those attacks when Rashford and James were making those runs, Pogba finds them. Puts him in good positions to be dangerous.
But do you think Pogba would have? Because I think what United did very well in the middle, they hustled really hard.
Yeah.
And they made it very, very difficult. So do you think that Pogba would not have been a detriment to the kind of...
Well, this is the thing. For me, it comes down to where Solskjaer would have played him. Yeah. If Solskjaer played him in replacement for Fred, then no, I think he would have been more of a detriment because of the job that Fred and McTominay were doing. But if they played him as a replacement for Pereira, I think it would have been better. But based on what we've done this season so far, I believe if Pogba was fit, he would have been in the midfield instead of Fred, and it could have cost us, and it probably would have cost us because that's not his role. That's not his
Fred
job.
was really good actually.
Our best games, finally, in the big games, have been without Pogba. PSG away, when you need to. I ain't talking about when you're playing Cardiff and Huddersfield, when you need that creativity. But when you need a midfield to work and to harass, etc., etc. PSG away. There was another game I can't remember. Even the Liverpool game at the end of last season, when everyone was down and out. Those games when you need that energy in the midfield, for me, you push Pogba up behind the striker. But I don't know if Solskjaer's going to do that. But that's what he needs to be.
So let's look at Liverpool. I mean, for me, like obviously, I think we are sort of me and Dave were sort of like talking about this briefly before. Because okay, Salah's down. I get it. But then when I looked at it, I was like, what is that? Okay, I know that Salah's injured, but the setup that Liverpool had didn't make any mistake. For me, it was obvious. And I was saying to Deborah that unless your hand is forced, play your players in their best position. Salah is out, Mane out on the left, either an Oxlade or a Shaqiri on the right, and you decide either you go with Firmino as a striker or Origi as a striker. Origi's best position is as the striker. He is very awkward on the wing. And again, I'm no professional player at all, so but this is just basic stuff. Whenever I played out on the wing, the way my brain functioned was different. I just couldn't function. You put me in centrally, my brain just functions differently. There are people who are, like, you know what I always say? A wide player can play centrally not too well. A central player can't play out wide. That's like a little football 101. I don't know that you guys agree. A guy who is naturally centrally cannot play out wide. A guy who is out wide can play centrally, but not too well. But if the guy has always been played centrally, put him out wide, the way your brain functions, limited space, you just don't know how to navigate there. So for me, Origi was pretty much ineffective there, and that is such a vital position for Liverpool.
But do you put
United in there?
do you put Origi through the middle at the expense of Firmino?
No,
because you say your best players in your best position.
No. You make a choice. For me, you start with Firmino. If it doesn't work, you bring in Origi. For me, I think the start should have been Firmino center, Mane left. Then you decide whether you want to go for Ox or Shaqiri out on the right.
See, I thought it was strange Origi was starting on the left and Mane was moved across to the right because Mane has been in devastating top 3 in the world form from the left. Why would you move him across to the right? It makes no sense to me, unless he was thinking that Wan-Bissaka's down the right. Maybe Wan-Bissaka's down the right. Let me target Ashley Young with Mane, which makes sense in a way. But I think, again, the tactics of Solskjaer by putting Rojo and the back 3 means that Ashley Young had insurance. Yeah. And it meant Origi was just constantly trying to cut inside because he wants to. And then what have you got inside? You have the back 3. Yeah. So I think having Mane on the left and having him try and go past Wan-Bissaka on the wing could create problems because now...
I would have loved to see Mane against Wan-Bissaka, I would have loved it.
Wan-Bissaka, hey,
I'm happy he wasn't there.
Wan-Bissaka done his thing, yes. Done his thing, man. I think Wan-Bissaka had a great game, both defensively and offensively, which is something that people say he's not very good at going forward, but I think he made some good runs. He was an option on the right quite a lot.
But a couple good crosses. Some of them needs to...
But going back to Liverpool, I think Klopp got it wrong by moving Mane to the right. I think when you've got someone like Oxlade, Chamberlain on the bench who could play wide right quite easily, he puts in a good cross. He could quite easily play there. I think you took away a lot from your team by moving Mane. Mane is one of the most devastating players in world football at the moment. Play him on the left. I think he got that one wrong.
And man told me that Matip was second best defender in the league.
He didn't look great yesterday, Matip.
Listen. Rashford had him on toast.
Rashford's not a central striker though.
But
he's not. Yeah,
No, but he wasn't playing central yesterday.
No, but he started central. There was one period.
Because he's not okay. So what?
But he's an inside forward. He's an inside forward.
But for me, yesterday was what I want to see because they had, as it was the 3-4-3 or 3-4-1-2, and it was the split strikers. Yeah. James and Rashford, and obviously ideally it will be Rashford and Martial. So your work is very wide and you come in. Yeah. And for me, he did that well yesterday.
He did that, but there was one particular moment I remember, and a cross came in from Daniel James, and the run that had to be made. If you're a striker, you make the run across the defender towards the near post, and you meet the ball as it's being played in. He tried to make the run that, funny enough, got him the goal.
Was that
later on?
Well, because he ran in,
but he ran in
took
and then
Matip
took out.
and then
But
went
this
out.
time he just ran straight out, and the ball was there to be won. But for me, a central striker, if you know that you're a striker, you know where to attack the ball.
But I think the position, that he played yesterday, for me, is where I want to see him. Because,
Inside forward.
Yeah, it's a wide forward, inside forward, and you saw that when he can run at a man in space, as opposed to having his back to goal holding that play. That's not him. That's not him. He ain't never going to be good at that. No matter when he reaches peak or whatever. I want to see him run at a man, being brave.
So let's now look at this whole VAR thing. So I think there were two big incidents.
Two big incidents.
VAR. So obviously
Just
the first
that
one
game,
was the one that led to the goal where apparently Origi was apparently fouled. Play happened. A great cross from Daniel James. Average player, very effective. Daniel James. I like his walk rates. Great cross. Rashford put it in, boom, and then people then looked back at it. VAR looked back and was like, nah. There was no foul given there. And then I think the other VAR one was the
Handball.
Mane one.
The handball, yeah.
Let me just ask you guys this. So first one is, do you think that first VAR decision was right with the foul on Origi? And the second one is this. Which moron, which numbskull came up with the genius idea that said, if I'm just running, doing my thing, and the ball just hits my arm, I have no clue whatsoever. I've not used my arm to help me move forward. The arm has not helped me control the ball. I've not used my hand to get an advantage. The ball just hits my hand.
See, now...
Is that a bloody flipping
See, now,
handball?
That did gain a massive advantage.
It did. That's the thing.
That gained a massive advantage.
Yes,
it stopped the ball into his
exactly.
path. The ball was running through to De Gea.
Exactly.
So,
it would have carried on bouncing.
Whether deliberate or not, the ball hit his hand and it stopped. So I understand that the one that got me was the Gareth Bale one against Thing where it hit his hand and then he volleyed it. You remember the Champions League?
Oh,
recently.
No, that was handball.
Yeah, that was handball. That was handball. But at the same time, I don't think it changed the trajectory of the ball.
The Laporte one. That was the where he went for against Spurs, where he went for the header and it brushed his. That was the one where you're like, this rule is ridiculous. Yeah. But for me, it's the wording of the rule because it's like any handball. It's black and white, so at least you know any handball is a infringement. But the Laporte one, for me, is when you look at it, it's like that's never a handball. You can't give that. But the Mane one, for me, it gave him an advantage. The Laporte one didn't gain an advantage. The Mane one, for me, is a handball. It has to be. The ball travels so far as well. It's not like it took a deflection off Lindelof and hit him in his hand. It's a ball that's gone over the top, and his hand is in that position for whatever reason. I'm not saying it's unnatural.
I mean, it wasn't. He didn't mean to handball.
No.
Let's not get it twisted. He didn't mean to.
But additionally, his hand didn't have to be there.
It has given him an advantage, whether he meant it or not. It has given him an advantage. So I can understand that one. And according to the laws of the game, it's a handball. Yeah. So that's why De Gea was so calm. He was calm. I've never seen anyone who's like, nah, that's handball, but that's coming back.
But that's why it's I like the black and white nature of it, because if it wasn't black and white, it would be like it was handball. But does the referee see it as whether he did it deliberately, was getting advantage? He knew handball, that should never be. And if the referee saw it, he would have given it himself.
Where are you on with these new laws then? Are you a fan of these new laws? Do you think that they need to be changed?
See, the handball law, because if I'm not mistaken, it's different for attackers and defenders.
That's my issue.
Which again is strange.
Yeah. Handball is handball.
If the ball's hit your hand as an attacker and it's deemed that you've got an advantage because the ball's hit your hand, why is that any different for a defender?
Say a defender, it's not deliberate, but it stops a goal. Stopping a goal and scoring a goal are two major incidents. Yeah. But for a defender, it can be accident, but for attacker, it's always
as a defender, if your arm is in an unnatural position, then it's deemed a handball. But for an attacker, if it hits your hand, it's handball. Yeah. So for me, even if a defender's arm is like here, and the ball's going through to an attacker, it hits him in the hand, that's not a handball. But for an attacker the other way around, that don't make no sense. Yeah. For me, that's confusing.
I think the wording needs to be refined to give a bit more. I don't know. Again, it's going to make it very subjective, but I like how UEFA have it in the case of, was your body in a silhouette, a natural silhouette? And they've defined what a silhouette looks like. What it would mean is that probably the referee has to go look at the monitor, which the Premier League don't want. The Premier
Doesn't
League
make
don't
no
want
damn
No,
sense.
okay, what is the argument for the referee not going to look at the monitor?
I heard something about it earlier. It's something to do with they don't want to take away the subjectivity because it's apparently subjectivity is always going to be there within the game of football. So they don't see any point in the referee coming over to look at the monitor. It makes no sense. For example, the game at Old Trafford, Martin Atkinson is one of the most experienced referees in the league at the moment. He's on the pitch. The referee in the VAR room is one of the least experienced referees in the Premier League. So you got a referee who's not very experienced at all telling one of the most experienced referees to change his mind. How does that work?
Bogus.
How does that work? The Origi incident, they didn't overturn it because the referee said he felt there was no clear and evident foul. So he saw it well. He was in a position. He's not going. So the VAR said, okay, we're not going to even challenge it because the referee said, no, I saw it. There was no foul. That's what it is. And even if he had the choice, and this is where I think it's falling down. If they would have given him the choice to say, go and look at it again, then he may have gone there and said, actually, you know what, I was wrong, and said that was a foul. But he said, no, I saw it when a foul. So as far as he's concerned, VAR doesn't exist. So you can't say it's VAR's fault. It's Martin Atkinson. And this is where people are getting confused. It's not being used correctly in this country. It's not. They're using it incorrect.
For me, the VAR made the right decision, but I don't like the process of VAR, of how the Premier League are running it. Martin Atkinson, for me, put it like this. If I saw the angle from behind live as a referee, I would have given it. If Martin Atkinson was sent over to the TV, I feel he would have overturned it. But even then, that call is subjective. Was it a free kick? Was it not a free kick? I probably would have given it, but I can understand why you wouldn't. Because one, he was losing the ball. He went down theatrically in a way that wasn't consistent with how he was, how the contact happened. He was also holding, for me, the wrong leg for where the contact actually happened.
Hold the right
leg. So I'm saying, so the question is, did the contact, one, cause him to lose the ball or impede him in retrieving the ball? No for both. So the decision itself, from my concern, for me, is subjective. It's up for debate. I personally would have given it. He didn't. But he wasn't given the opportunity to look at it again, which is what VAR was supposed to do. You don't take away the power from the referee. Now, Premier League have taken it one step further. Not only are they not taking away the power from the referee, they are using VAR to confirm the referee's decision as opposed to getting the right decision. So they're not really interested in getting the right decision. It's more to back up the referee as like his pal. I don't want to prove that he was wrong.
And someone just asked, like, why is there a clear and obvious rule then?
But because they don't. Okay, I'll read. Let me read exactly what the PGMLO said. After it said,
"Get those facts, baby."
Firstly, the on-field referee didn't think it was a foul, and VAR checked and decided that it wasn't a clear and obvious error to not award a foul. So that's because, as I said, for the things, he went down theatrically, did it actually impede him from getting the ball, etc., etc. Secondly, VAR isn't re-refereeing matches. There is contact, but VAR was comfortable it wasn't enough to disallow the goal. So my issue is that the referee doesn't have the option to change his own decision, which I think it needs to be. You can't have a man out of the pitch, out of the footballing atmosphere, the footballing reality, confirming a decision right or wrong. We saw it on the weekend. There was the Spurs against Watford. Vertonghen kicks Delafeu twice. Blatant penalty. It has to be given, but because they don't want to re-referee, they don't want to prove their mates wrong, they're happier. The bar is set so high to overturn a decision when I think it shouldn't be. It should be, we think that there is contact, have a look at it and see if you want to change it.
That's how it works everywhere else.
And you leave it with the referee after
That's
that.
how it works everywhere else. The referee has the final decision. The referee can even say, even if you say, look, come and have a look at this again, the referee can say, no, I know I got it right, and just play on. And that's on him.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
But they're trying to protect the referee. They take it away from him and they say, well, the VAR got it, VAR got it right. Well, your process is wrong.
Basically, this just proves why this country voted for Brexit. It's going to be really different.
So can I just say, sorry, also, there was another incident where Burnley.
Leicester
Chris
Burnley.
Wood. And Chris Wood scored. Now, the difference with that and this one, was that the referee didn't see the incident,
didn't see the clip, yeah.
and he didn't because he didn't see the clip. They weren't re-refereeing his decision. They said, well, there was a clip, therefore the foul.
Although he was never going to get.
He wasn't getting the ball.
He was never going to get to the ball.
I think
he was never going to get to it.
But because the referee, if the referee said I saw it, but for me it didn't impede the outcome, then they probably wouldn't have overturned it. But because the referee didn't see it, then they can make another decision. So it all comes from the referee's first
VAR
initial.
is supposed to take away these moments. It's supposed to clear all this up. And it's just creating more confusion.
For me, it never will, because, as I say, even in the Premier League, even as good as UEFA and FIFA's implementation as it is, we saw in the World Cup final, there's a question about the handball. We saw in the Champions League, the Kimpembe handball. So
that was ridiculous.
Well,
see, but that was because of the change in the rules
in terms of the silhouette and
the
that kind of
interpretation.
stuff.
Yeah, so that's.
But for me, the most important thing is the referee made the final decision.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line. Whereas for as it is in the Premier League, the VAR is making that final decision, and unless it's offsides or handballs, which are clear cut, black and white in the rules, the referee, the power needs to remain with the referee, and the only way you're going to do that is to send him over to the TV screen to change or stick with his decision. But other than that, Mike Jackson had a good game. Because Liverpool fans...
he did.
Speaking on that, literally, like, one of my mods, natural opinion, he's like, one of my mods, Liverpool fan, he says that, speak about Martin Atkinson's performance. So...
I've challenged Liverpool fans to tell me why Martin Atkinson had a bad game. And all they could say is he gave 3 times more fouls to Man United than he did us. Liverpool attempted twice as many tackles. They're going to have more fouls. They attempted twice as many tackles. Said, Man United didn't have as much possession. But just because you don't have much possession doesn't mean you can't give away fouls. You can have as much as the ball as you want. Once you lose it, you can foul them out to try to get it back. Doesn't mean because you had less possession you should have more fouls. It doesn't make no sense. It doesn't correlate.
And Liverpool fans, they're funny, man. They're so funny because they use, it's a caveat. Because they'll say, oh yeah, our midfield was bad, but the referee in the worst performance. And you'll say, well, why are you blaming the referee? No, I'm not blaming the referee. So why are you using it as a caveat? Yeah. The reality is you weren't good enough. You were fortunate to get away with a draw. That's the bottom line. Now you can look at the statistics all you want in terms of possession, etc. We watched the game. We saw that Man United weren't troubled. They got the goal and they, as a tactic, they sat back and allowed Liverpool on. And Liverpool created one clear opportunity, which was the goal itself. So
and the Firmino chance, which was...
Oh, no, talking about after we got... in the second half when we sat back. Yeah. So you had a 60% possession because we gave you 60% possession. Whether Solskjaer was right or wrong is neither here nor there.
And as Liverpool fans, I just want to know, what about the treatment of Dan James? Because Dan James took some beatings.
And for me...
Fabinho left it on him a few times.
For me, they weren't fouls. For me, they were strong, but he left it on. But we know that if that was a Liverpool player, a la Salah, in the Champions League 2018, petitions would have been out to get certain man banned and sacked and fined and all that kind of crap. So, just keep the same energy, man. Martin Jackson... Yeah,
don't get me wrong, Martin Atkinson's a terrible referee. He is.
You know what it is? Sorry,
I hate him.
You know what it is? He sent off Gerrard after 17 seconds for a stamp in his last game against Man United, and they've held it against him ever since.
I think he's a...
Shout out to Gerrard, because he said Liverpool were going to beat us as well, but anyway.
All right, so
slipped up again.
So the last 10-15 minutes of the show, Champions League previews. Remember, guys, send in your questions, any interesting question or anything, we'll answer them when you send in the questions, last 10-15 minutes of the show. So let's just look at the Champions League month. It is Champions League this week, and I think this is when we begin the double headers. They head to the heads where it's the same team home and away. Galatasaray, Real Madrid. Now, think about this. If you show me this fixture, like maybe a season or two ago, like, man, that's an easy win for Real Madrid. Post Real Mallorca, post this thing that are happening right now. By the way, Vinicius is trash. Vinicius is
what? I thought that was your boy, bro. Man, that's reactive.
He's trash.
Okay.
But you can't keep shooting 3,000 times and missing. So
Coutinho did it.
They're both trash. So my thing is, so obviously we'll go with I think these are the 3 games I'm really picking up. So let's just first start with the Galatasaray, Real Madrid. So what are you thinking? Away from home, They've lost one, drawn one.
Tough game, man.
Real Madrid are rock bottom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're in trouble. And Galatasaray is not an easy place to go and get a result. Galatasaray might not be the same Galatasaray as they were back in their heyday when they won the UEFA Cup. Hakan Suker and those guys. But they got a good team on their hands there now. They got a good team on their hands. And I think they will be up for this game. I think they'll be ready for it. They'll think that Real Madrid are there for the taking. I think Madrid have got some injuries as well, haven't they?
Yeah, Bale is out, Modric is out. I feel like I saw Cruz was out as well, but I'm not 100% sure. Bale and Modric definitely out. Listen, they need to pray.
They need to win.
Obviously, they need to go and get their own result.
Yeah.
But if Club Brugge get a result against PSG in any of those two games, Real Madrid's in trouble.
Yeah.
They're in trouble because after that, they're having to rely on Galatasaray beating...
So your friends tell me that Club Brugge are going to advance ahead of Real Madrid in the Champions League.
If the result... Because who are Club Brugge? Club Brugge
now.
are playing at home.
Yeah.
So if they get a result in that game and Real Madrid don't... If they bet Real Madrid's result in that game, Real Madrid's in trouble. Because Real Madrid have to play PSG again.
Yeah. I can see it now. Real Madrid are going to drop out, go into the Europa League, and then we ain't winning it once. We'll probably get them in the final. Bale masterclass, and then
No.
Do you know what I mean?
I think if Real Madrid go to the Europa, Zidane should just step down. Like that would be that would be embarrassing.
But you know who is really, really good in Europa League? Emery. Real Madrid should hire Emery.
Who do you want? You want Pochettino?
But I'll take Pochettino all day. All day. That would be.
Give me a scoreline then. Give me a scoreline.
Draw.
Yeah, I'm going to draw as well.
Or Madrid might sneak a win in the last few minutes. But
I'm going 2-2.
I'll go for a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. All right. So next game we have in here, obviously, building up to obviously the massive one. So Chelsea Ajax. So Amsterdam Wednesday. I think everyone can agree that Ajax are the best team in this group. It's looking tricky, you know.
So you said the best team?
Ajax is the best team.
Best and biggest.
Best
and biggest.
And biggest, probably, yeah.
How much champions
Best
they
team
got?
in this group, okay. Best team. Look, they're a bunch of test babies, man. IVF kids, man.
How many European countries you got compared to them?
Who cares, man?
I can't take part in this conversation.
Before you give your score predictions, how do you view this game? How did Chelsea approach this game? Do you think that Ajax will be too strong for Chelsea? Because they look both attacking teams. Both teams want to attack. It's going to be very exciting, very open. Do you think Ajax will be far too clinical for
Look, man, I think Chelsea need to go into this game just thinking, look, Ajax have got a blueprint of how to do things with young players. This is a good test for our young players. Go out there and enjoy the game. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's much pressure on Chelsea in terms of everyone's going to be thinking Ajax are going to, semi-finalists last season. Everyone's going to be thinking Ajax are going to turn on the style and do this. I think Chelsea can be quietly confident that they can go up and give Ajax a good game. And I think they have the tools in their locker to really cause problems for Ajax. Because I think the Ajax defence isn't the best. I think Tammy Abraham will give them problems. I think if Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think with those players, Mason Mount, I think those players will give Ajax problems. I just think it might become a bit of a shootout, to be honest. I think Chelsea's defence hasn't been great this season. I think with Ajax's attacking talent, it could become a thing of, all right, you score one, we score one. It could be. I think this is going to be a very entertaining game. I'll be shocked if it's boring.
Yeah, I think Ajax are the best team in the group by far.
Easy.
But I think the way that Ajax are going to play will suit Chelsea. I think Chelsea struggled against Newcastle when they were sitting deep. They obviously it was the first game of the season, but when they played Man United, when we sat deep, we were able to hit them on the counter attack. But when they played Liverpool in the Super Cup, you saw how Liverpool were open, and it was kind of tit for tat. You go, I go. You go, I go. So this game could be very much like that. But I do think that the home advantage is going to play its part. I would be surprised if Ajax don't win. I think they'll get a win. It's going to be narrow. I would say something like 2-1. But I'll be very surprised if Ajax don't come out of the game and lose. They haven't lost a game this season. But now being in the league, they won 2 out of 2 in the Champions League. Away to Valencia, 3-0. That's a good result, very good result. They're playing with a freedom. Chelsea are also playing with freedom, so it should be an entertaining game. You mentioned Tammy Abraham. I have a question for you. Did he score against Liverpool this season? Tammy Abraham.
Tammy Abraham. Did he score against Liverpool?
Yeah, can't remember.
I think why?
No, Rashford did. But anyway.
Oh, is that the benchmark now?
No,
is that the benchmark?
because I'm just saying, innit? Because when he didn't score, they were like, "Well, it's Liverpool." Well, then Rashford scored, innit? I'm just saying,
It's happening. First of all, it's happening.
That was a nice finish actually, outside of the boot.
No.
See the movement. You see the movement.
James did it on.
You see the movement.
James did it on. He paid for it, but my thing is.
I was just saying, that's it.
How many goals?
It was just a question. It was just a question.
It
was just a question. What's 4 in the league?
And what is his maximum ever? Isn't it 11?
10. 10 in the league.
Yeah.
Martial's 11.
Maybe, yeah.
So
It was a question. That's all I wanted to know.
It was an attack.
But yeah, 2-1 Ajax. Tammy might score. I like Tammy, you know. I like Tammy.
So 2-1. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a narrow Ajax win. Yeah, I'll say 2-1 as well.
What are you saying? What are you saying about Real Madrid? I didn't get your take on Real Madrid either. You saying an interview.
Is Hazard playing? Was Hazard still?
The honeymoon.
Still
Might be
the
on
baby.
honeymoon.
Yeah,
No, it's the baby, innit?
Was that a baby?
Yeah,
The baby
the
was
baby,
early,
yeah,
yeah.
the baby.
Apparently.
Did you see? They said who was pregnant, him or the what? What's your thoughts? On Real Madrid Bruges. We need to hear your thoughts. Real Madrid Bruges. Ajax Chelsea.
At least say something. It's the first time
What
I've
do you
ever
say-
seen you quiet.
What do you? How can you say nothing? How can you say nothing?
What's the third game? The big game.
Inter.
Oh, so we're just not doing Europa League. I thought that was what you meant. Oh, my bad.
So
We need a whole new show for Europa League because that's a long discussion.
Shout out Doodlange.
guys, come on, guys, don't call Hazard pregnant. Come on, that's just that's really low.
Fat bum.
So Inter against Dortmund, what do you guys say, man? Inter at home.
They won 4-3 yesterday, innit? What was it? Saturday?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Lukaku brace.
Yeah.
But do you think that Dortmund are going to export? Because again, this is classic attack against the defense. So what are you feeling?
Where is it? Is it
Did you
Milan?
say it's attack versus defense?
Yes.
I don't think so. Inter been who's the Inter being defensive?
Yes.
No, man. I think Inter's been
No, they've been
progressive
banging
this
goals.
year.
They've been banging
They've been.
goals.
I think they've got more than Juventus in the league.
Compared to Dortmund, they're a more defensive team than Dortmund. Okay, so would you describe Inter as an attacking team in the same way as
I think
Dortmund?
they're quite
No,
balanced.
but-
I think they're quite balanced.
Okay,
But
I'll take
Is it in
Barca.
Milan or is it in,
No,
it's in Dortmund?
Oh wait, no. Where is it? It is
I think
in.
it's-
It's in Milan.
It's in Milan.
Yeah, so I can't see it being attacking. It's not going to be. Inter's not going to be pegged back at home against Dortmund. I can't see that. I can't see that at all.
I'll be shocked if Dortmund win this game. I'll be honest with you. I don't think Dortmund have really hit their heights this season.
Conte's doing bits.
I think Conte. He's just a
doing
quality
alright.
manager.
He is.
He's a quality manager.
Tactically, he ain't
yeah.
going to be exposed like.
Yeah, I think Inter walk
Conte
it, but
got himself
walk away with the
sacked
3
as
points.
Chelsea got to get his seventh package, which is a very mafia thing to do.
But it's a must win for Inter because they're bottom of the group.
They have to win.
Yeah.
They have to win.
And
Exactly.
obviously it's a double header. So if they were to draw this, for example, they'll still be 3 points behind Dortmund, and then they have to go to Dortmund. They could be out of the Champions League before the last 2 games.
Oh my god, another one going into Europa League.
You give the score.
You give us a scoreline, please.
Yeah.
Havoc, this is the football dugout with Neeks, Devo, and Havoc. What is your thoughts on Inter and Dortmund?
I'm going to say 1-0 to Inter Milan. 1-0.
I was thinking 2-0.
Okay.
I was thinking 2-0. If they bring Sancho back, if he's back at the doghouse, then they might have a chance.
What happened to him?
Yeah, he
was back late from
He was
international
back
duty.
late for international duty, so they dropped him.
Wait, who did it?
Sancho.
Sancho.
So they dropped him, and they won the top of the table clash. Well, I mean,
Much
all
like
of them are top of the table at the moment. Yeah, they won that game 1-0. So
I think they'll bring it. They have to bring it back in it.
They have to bring it back.
They have to. I feel.
Wunderkind.
I feel like obviously Dortmund know they only really need a draw. I think obviously they want to win, but a draw is a good result for them. So I could see them, for me, playing on the counter.
I don't know if they know how to play for a draw. I think they only know how to play one way, and that's just we're going to attack, try and score some goals.
I'm gonna go 1-1.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
2-0
go
win.
1-1.
Okay. All right, guys. 5 minutes. Send in your questions. Last 5 minutes. I did see these things. There was something about James Maddison to United.
So yeah, there was talk.
Ornstein.
Ornstein, who writes for the Athletic now, a new publication, and he's basically saying that we're definitely looking at him. I think contact's actually been made between the Man United, Leicester, and his representatives, but Leicester what they're looking to do is get him on a new contract to protect his value. And obviously they'll be in a similar position like they were with Maguire and even Mahrez to get top money for him. I can't see it being in January. I'd be very surprised, especially the way that Leicester are going. It would take like a mammoth 100+ million offer to get him in January. But it's a move that I can. He's 22 years old, English. I can see it happening to Man United.
Objectively speaking, do you think
better than Pereira
with the way things are going at Maddison? It's going to be a move up from him from Leicester City to United. Where United are going.
I think it is. Well, put it like this.
What do you mean? Why you think
I'll tell you,
that trash?
I'll tell you why. Because Leicester won the league, and Vardy wanted to go Arsenal. In the end, he stayed, but Leicester were Premier League champions. So any team he went to at that point was a step down. I think Mahrez, before he went to Man City. Was Man City the first team to come in for him?
No, it was Liverpool, wasn't it? Wasn't it? He was very close to joining Liverpool.
Mahrez?
I think so.
Was it Chelsea? No.
I think he was very close to joining Liverpool.
Remember, but whoever it was, obviously they weren't champions.
Yeah.
And they kept on to it, and in the end he went Man City. So, yeah, Leicester right now are playing better. They've got a better manager, etc. But as a player, there's certain things. We speak about Liverpool players going to Real Madrid, Barcelona. Liverpool might be the European champions and they might be the best team in the world at the moment.
Don't say it, Nick.
I said they might be. But I'm saying that when those teams come calling, it's very hard to say no. I don't care what.
Wait.
No, what I'm saying is, so if you're, no. I'm saying, so if you're at Leicester, no matter how good Leicester are doing, when Man United come calling,
no,
it's gonna be very hard. No, it is.
Wait.
No, it is.
Wait. Okay, this is
now.
Think of it this way. Think of it this way.
This ain't Spurs.
Think of it this way.
And even then,
what young child dreams of playing for Leicester City who isn't from Leicester? What young child dreams of playing for Man United?
From the whole England.
Most of them.
Now.
Well, he's 22 years old. He wasn't born
He's
today.
22. As a child, he was thinking, I want to play for Man United.
No, but guys, let's keep it real. I get old dream, but in 2019 right now, they're saying that James Maddison, looking at the mess that United are in, where this could be a 5, 6, 7 year.
And how old is he?
By the way, it increases every time we do the dugout.
But he's 22. He could be a pivotal part of that rebuild. Imagine being the player that was signed and you brought glory back to Man United.
Well, put it like this. Put it like this. Put it like this. I tell you why. No. I tell you why. I tell you why there's no arguing there. Because Harry Maguire left.
Yeah.
So what? Harry Maguire left and went to Man United.
And look at him now.
Look at him now.
If Maddison has any sense,
no.
He's like, bro, I don't want to end up like fucking German.
What do you mean end up like him?
But
the man's been good this season. He's still England's first choice centre back. He's earning good money. Like, I don't see what. Sorry, I said finish the season with Leicester. If he wouldn't even stay for another year, he's 22, become 24. He ain't staying at Leicester. If Man United come with the right money and the right offer, and obviously Leicester have to accept it, I can't see him turning down Leicester for Man United. I just can't.
Okay, so let's just last question and we can hold on. Someone said this a while back. Ajax did really well last season in the Champions League, got to the semi-finals. How far do you think that they can go?
I'll be shocked if they get to the semi-finals again.
Shocked? Why shocked?
Shocked. I'll be shocked if they get there again. I think they did very, very well to get to the semi-finals last year. Very well, but Tottenham did very well to get to the final. I wouldn't imagine them getting there either. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Ajax and Tottenham are on a par, but I'm saying
Tottenham are better.
I'm saying,
I mean, they beat them, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, all I'm saying is that those two teams in the semi-final last season is an anomaly. I can't even say the word. You say it for me.
Oh, anomaly.
That's it. That one. Yeah. It's not normal that those teams are there. You have big teams such as Barcelona, PSG, Real Madrid, blah, blah, blah. All these teams that you would expect to be there. So I'd be shocked if Ajax get there again because they're not of that caliber. They're a very good side, but I don't think they'll go. I don't think they're going to go there this season and beat the likes of PSG in their backyard or Liverpool or any of those teams. Barcelona. I don't think they'll go ahead and do that this season.
I think quarterfinals is realistic. If they top their group, if they can get a good draw in the last 16, then quarterfinals. But obviously after that, the draw is open. So it really, if for example, I don't know who's, I can't remember what the team in the Champions League, but if they, for example, were to draw, let's say Chelsea and them got through, and they drew Chelsea in the quarters, they can get through that. Yeah. But if they were to draw a Barca Bayern Munich, I
think those guys are a bit more
streetwise.
Yeah,
and the quality I think will be better this year than last year. So they'll have to get a good draw. If they get the draw that they got last year, this year I can't see them do it.
There's no way Juventus allow them to do that twice. No way.
I just feel like I don't think if they got to the semis, I wouldn't be shocked because I just don't see the field as being as strong as it normally was. For me, like, Real Madrid look like a mess. Barcelona, I'm still not really sold on them really fully. PSG, they've got that losers gene within them.
I think PSG are stronger this season than they were last season. I think Bayern are stronger this season than they were last season.
Did Bayern just flipping?
I know. I know.
But
I still think they're strong. Remember how Bayern started last season? Bayern started terribly last season.
And they picked up at the end.
They're doing better this season than they were last. At this stage of the season.
There's a question here, and I'm not 100% sure. It says it's from Sean Clement. So maybe he can come back and clarify. It says, thoughts on Klopp's comments. If it was Uncle Mo, everyone would have been on his case. I'm not sure exactly.
Oh, that's about the Champions League. His comments about them not being ready for Champions League.
He said Klopp.
Oh, Klopp. Sorry, I thought you said Pep. Sorry.
Yeah, I think isn't that the whole thing of like?
Oh, they came to defend or that Man United defend. Yeah, that's just sour grapes, man.
Yeah,
I like how
that's just sour grapes.
Rio shut him down, isn't it? Yeah. Because you expecting a meat dish and you got fish. Like that is the.
That's the dumbest
thing.
It's
the worst.
You can't say that, man.
And the reality is, he ain't beaten us at Old Trafford since he's been there. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all. And we've beaten them. It's not like every time we come we've drawn. We've actually beaten them at Old Trafford in the time he's been there. But yeah, that's very poor from him. But no one ain't going to highlight it.
Yeah.
No one ain't going to highlight it because Klopp is the media darling. But it's a good thing. Josh Burns said it as you did. Pep trying to reduce expectations.
Oh, no, yeah.
Listen,
I am. He shouldn't. No. Pep, don't.
Listen,
he spends 5 trillion building that team to say, we're not ready yet. Get the
maybe he needs to buy in. Maybe he needs to spend the next trillion. He's ready when he's ready.
50 billion.
Listen, you don't rush art. All right. You don't rush art. You don't rush your girl when she's getting ready to go out.
100 mil more.
You just wait to the finished picture and then say, "Oh, you look nice, babes."
Listen, tip of my tongue, the F word's coming out. I don't want to hear this from Pep Guardiola. I'm gonna keep calling that for now. But he's getting on my last nerves. How dare you say that? How dare you come up with that claptrap? And you know what? Man City ain't winning the Champions League this year either. Especially, it all depends on Laporte. If Laporte is out at a crucial stage, I'm not sure exactly when he's coming back, at a crucial stage in the Champions League, they ain't going through because their defense ain't there. They didn't replace Company. Yeah. They need to strengthen in the. Actually, fair. They bought Laporte in the January when they actually got him, so they need to go and strengthen in January in that centre back position. Because if they go into 100%. A Champions League game with Fernandinho and Rodri at centre back,
can I just say that it sounds like we've just been screwed by Mike Dean. Not going to VAR.
We said not going to
Arsenal. So apparently Socrates has had his shirt blatantly pulled by his Sheffield United defender, and Mike Dean has not gone to VAR.
What do you mean he's not gone?
He's not referred to Mariner for assistance and said he got it right.
Oh. But surely the VAR says that they're checking it in his headset.
Yeah, no, because
who's Mike Dean?
Mike Dean is the referee. Yeah. Mike Dean's the referee. Andre Mariner's in the VAR room.
Yeah.
So he's saying that he hasn't gone to VAR. Must have said in his ear, blah blah. And he said, "No, I got it right," and carried on.
Oh,
right, there's clearly a shirt pull in the box, is what the commentary is saying here.
Because it says no penalty since Mike Dean, but no check from VAR either.
Mike Dean is what Liverpool fans think Martin Atkinson is. Mike Dean's been doing it for over a decade. For over a decade to us.
But as far as I'm aware,
Yeah, so we'll
the
see.
referee,
We'll see.
can the referee over? I mean, to be fair, the referee can over a VAR, innit? Yeah, of course,
he can.
the final decision.
Yeah.
But why is he so adamant?
Because he's an arrogant prick.
Yeah, to not go to
Mike Dean is
VAR.
an arrogant prick.
You want
Mike
to
Dean
get the right decision, but he's trying to prove himself.
He's
right.
Mike Dean. It's all about him.
But what we can't do, we can't use this now to say VAR should overrule the refs because then it becomes a robot game. You don't need a ref anymore if you get VAR. But you just need to get this kind of
get
these
Mike Dean
referees
out. Get Mike Dean the hell out of there.
All right, guys, that is all for us for this week of the Football Dog. Remember to like the vid, remember to share the video, remember to also follow our dear friends El Nix and Mr. Devil on their Twitter handles, guys. Remember, stay true, stay black, stay real. Stay true, stay fruitful, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Stay true.
Safe.